Okay, so I'm going to start off by stating the obvious. Perhaps there is one or more among you new guys who haven't noticed this yet, but your movement speed with the AWP is slow. Slower than most other weapons, with a movement speed of only 200 units per second. And that is quite slow considering with knives you have a movement speed of 250 units per second. And most pistols you have a movement speed of 240 units, except for the Desert Eagle, which has a movement speed of 230 units per second. The only other weapon that you can possibly be slower with than with the AWP is one of the machine guns, with the M429 clocking in at 195 units per second. And a Negev with a shocking movement speed of only 150 units per second. This is almost as slow as you can be with a weapon unless you want to run around with one of the scoped weapons while being scoped in. That's just silly. As a quick and interesting aside in terms of rifle speed, the Scout or SSG or Cheap Snipe, whatever you prefer to call it, has a movement speed of 230, making this a nice and agile rifle to run around with early rounds, as it is very economic, deals quite a lot of damage and allows you silver snipers to get some scoped warm-up in before the enemy AWPers do. Just think about it. If you only take away one thing from this entire video, or make it two as there is an important point in the next section as well. But one thing that will really help you out as a silver sniper is to please do not crouch around a corner while being scoped in. Not only is this so slow your enemy can take a coffee break when you start coming around the corner and still be back in time to shoot you, half of your body will also be sticking out long before you will ever see the enemy. So you are basically just a sitting duck doing a duck walk. Yeah, I like it. I now dub this technique the duck walk. So very important, don't do the duck walk. As you can see, your movement speed when you do this is only 34 units per second. To give you an idea, even simply walking around a corner while scoped in will at least give you a movement speed of 100 units, making this 3 times faster than a duck walk. And of course, better yet is if you get better at pre-aiming and having an idea of where your invisible crosshair is, so that you can simply walk out and do a quick scope shot. However, there is a technique that is even more effective, as you will have the benefit of peaking at your maximum AWP velocity and having your crosshairs settle a lot quicker after the scoping. And that is the crouch peak, where you go sideways and as you get close to the corner you simply crouch, sliding out with your crosshair being almost immediately accurate. This is a more advanced technique that you will see pro players use a lot, so if you are serious about AWPing, you need to learn this. The risk with this, however, is that you are temporarily turning yourself into a sitting duck, so make sure that you land that shot. Aim training link above. If you only take away one thing from this entire video. Just kidding, I'm not going to start every section like this. But the next point I'm going to make is about an important thing that I see a lot of new silver snipers do. And that is to re-peek after you missed a shot. This is a bad habit that can get you killed a lot, but will get you killed against enemy AWPers. There are 3 situations in which the re-peeks are a no-no. Number 1. When you hold an angle and missed a shot. If you have been spotted, the enemy now knows exactly where you are and they are waiting for you to re-peek. Okay, you might have peeker's advantage, you think, but that only works if the enemy is sitting where you think that he is going to be. And you also know how to peek out properly and not do a duck walk. Number 2 is when an enemy baits out your shot by jiggle or shoulder peeking, as this is especially an effective counter AWPer strategy, and a lot of times an enemy AWPer will use this to get onto the angle while you reload, wait for you to peek out and then already be scoped into your position. Number 3 is when you get flashed off an angle. The argument and strategy is exactly the same as in the previous 2 points, so if you get flashed off an angle, sometimes it's better to just give up the angle and reposition than to stay on the angle or to re-peek it and get killed. Don't re-peek, but Brainiac, I do this all the time and it works. That might be true for now, however it is a bad habit that you can form which will get you killed in higher skill levels. However, I understand that sometimes you just have to re-peek because there is no way to fall back. Well, if you are clever in these situations, just flip the strategy book on your opponent. Throw a flash or a jiggle peek to bait a shot from the enemy AWPer before you re-peek or reposition, as this will increase your survivability in the long run. Furthermore, if you are holding a power position with the AWP, let's say for instance you're playing heaven on nuke and holding outside, a good idea is to use the tendency of the enemy team's communication against them by applying the age-old art of Guerilla Warfare. If you shoot an enemy from up top, know that this will get communicated through the enemy team. So don't stay on the exact same angle for the next shot, as the enemy will be pre-aiming your position. Drop down a bit lower, as this will give you that extra second while the enemy has to suddenly aim down. Also, you can use the principle for instance on bomb site B, where you would shoot the first guy from behind a silo and then reposition to an off angle, as the next guy coming through will probably be looking at silo first, as that was your last known location. So work out routes like this and alternate angles on positions to increase your effectiveness with the AWP. As an AWPer, getting a low risk kill early in a round can really shift the balance of momentum in favor of your team, especially if you are a terrorist, as this will force the whole CT defense to be spread thin. Low risk kills boils down to map knowledge and especially your spawn. If for instance in overpass you get this spawn over here, the knock-on effect of this is that if you immediately start running towards fountain, you will reach those stairs at the same time that the terrorists come running out, thereby allowing you to unexpectedly get a kill before backing off or rotating to your position. Another example of this is, let's say on cache, as a terrorist you get the spawn over here. Knock-on effect of this is that if you rush the B side, you will in all likelihood get this angle long before the CT AWPer gets to his point, and if he tries to peek or move across to checkers, he will be coming straight into your scope. And you can even do this when the team is going A, as this will confuse the CT defense even more, as they now have information that you are on B, and they will already be split thin because they are down one defender. A last thing that playing your spawns does is that it turns you into an unpredictable AWPer. You see, if you're AWPing at a higher skill level than the enemies you are currently playing with, you will sometimes see that you basically shut down that part of the map, in that the enemies will simply no longer come to that part of the map and rather try their luck somewhere else. For instance, if you shut down a whole team on nuke outside 2 rounds in a row, you will a lot of times find that they just stop coming and rather try to go inside. When you play your spawns, it will cause you to rotate around the map a lot, so the enemies are never 100% sure about where you are going to be. And this brings us to our last point. Even though you love the AWP yourself, sometimes the situation will require that you allow someone else to AWP, and that's okay, as you being a Silverschooler will be able to rifle as well. However, something to keep in mind, as if the other guy in your team has a certain spawn for a location, not to get in his way when the round starts. Make certain you get out of his way or stay out of his way, as the case may be, because if you delay him for even 1 second by running into him, this can cause him to arrive late at the location he was going for, causing him to get killed and costing your entire team the advantage of playing an early on 5 vs 4. And the flip side of this is that if you are the AWPer who gets blocked on your way to a certain location, rather let the opportunity go and do not throw yourself into a recovery attempt, as you will most likely be late and will now have to play a different and more standard approach. Let me know in the comment section if these tips helped you out, and also if there are any other movement related tips that you feel that I should include. Also, you are welcome to share any other tips or tricks that you have in the comment section below. Let's start that conversation where we can all learn from and help each other out. Remember to subscribe, as these lessons will keep on coming, and you don't want to have a lack of knowledge that makes you fall behind your fellow classmates. Till next time, class dismissed.